Thanks so much. Y'all may know I'm a repeat offender here in Germany in that I was here a few years ago when I was the Minister Counselor for Political Affairs, and so to have the chance to come back is just awesome. Okay. Also ich möchte mich bedanken und ich danke Ihnen für die Einladung zur heutigen Veranstaltung und gratuliere den Mitgliedern von WIIS Deutschland ganz herzlich also das ist 15. Geburtstag, ja? Ja, wunderbar. Teenager, okay. Jetzt fängt's an, Ärger. Ich freue mich über die Gelegenheit, mit Ihnen als Vertreterinnen und Vertreter der deutschen außenpolitischen Gemeinschaft austauschen zu können. In einer komplexen, sich schnell verändernden Welt, deren Herausforderungen sich den Vereinigten Staaten und Deutschland stellen, müssen sie die notwendigen Strategien entwickeln, um ihre gemeinsamen Interessen und Ziele zu verteidigen. I didn't miss that the actual language you're holding this in was English. I just wanted to give it a go at the start, so I hope you'll forgive me. You know, 18 years ago, I was in a cafe in Nicosia with 4 female parliamentarians. At the time, I was the chief of the political section, and I had arranged this meeting, and we'd been planning it for a long time because I wanted to talk with them about parliamentary best practices and their experiences as women in politics in Cyprus. However, our meeting happened to be scheduled for the Wednesday following the US presidential election, which that year was between George Bush and Al Gore. And some of you may recall that took a while to conclude. Instead of chatting about democracy in Cyprus, we spent the whole meeting discussing the US Electoral College, the recount mechanism in Florida, and what exactly were hanging chads. Never in a million years had it occurred to me that we might not yet at that moment have an election result. It was an unprecedented moment in American history, but the strength and resilience of American democracy were never in doubt, and our political institutions, and those of us stationed overseas at American embassies, we kept calm and carried on. Today, the vibrant dialogue that makes for true democracy in the United States remains strong. Our commitment to promoting democracy, human rights, peace, security, and opportunity throughout the world remains steadfast. Idealism and realism align here. America's commitment to these principles is an essential source of our strength and our influence in the world, and it sets us apart from our adversaries. We're grateful for our close partnership with our transatlantic friends in promoting these shared ideals. For decades, Germany in particular has been one of America's most trusted friends, an important ally, and a close partner in our engagement with Europe and the world. The United States and Germany have long had a warm and constructive bilateral relationship. At the heart of this relationship is our shared commitment to freedom and democracy. Our political, economic, and cultural connections are strong, and the bond between us runs deep. So much of what we do is about what we do together elsewhere. Germany is a crucial partner on many of the United States' top foreign policy priorities. There are few countries that can project the same resolve, trust, and capability on the world stage. Working together, our two countries are a powerful force for good in the world. The United States is convinced that Germany is ready to take on greater global leadership responsibilities to match its economic weight and its central role within Europe, and especially as it takes on its seat on the UN Security Council in January. And we're convinced because we've seen you lay the groundwork for that leadership. And through the MFA's white paper in 2014, as well as your, actually there was an internal study of where Germany's role in the world would be, and then the 2016 white paper from the defense community. So we look at those and we know that this debate is enhancing Germany's role in the world. And I know that that discussion goes on here in this room and in Parliament and in your government. Our defense partnership is a core component of the US relationship with Germany. This is borne out, of course, in our ironclad commitments as NATO allies, as well as through the sizable presence of US troops stationed in Germany. Stationing our troops here helps facilitate their safe global deployment. It bolsters the credibility of the NATO alliance's deterrence posture, and it boosts our capability to train with the German military and dozens of other partners. Of course, 4 years ago, Germany joined its fellow NATO allies in pledging to increase its defense spending to 2% of GDP. While there has been a steady increase since then, and believe me, we've been watching it tick up, Germany is still far from achieving that goal. So we are going to continue to encourage Berlin to fulfill this pledge and to address the readiness problems that its military faces. In asking Germany to increase its defense spending, we are seeking a stronger transatlantic alliance. Burden sharing will ensure that our friends and allies in Europe have resources in place to defend themselves and contain the emerging threat posed by Russia and other bad actors. As an alliance, we need these capabilities, and it's about capabilities. As the current US national security strategy makes clear, and I bet a bunch of you have read it, the return of big power competition for global influence is the defining geopolitical fact of our time. Revisionist powers like Russia and China are trying to shape a world antithetical to our interests and values through the use of technology, propaganda, and coercion. Preparing for this competition must now become the central task of US foreign policy. And of course, this will involve action on a variety of fronts. We must certainly continue to engage diplomatically with the countries with whom we agree, but we must also engage with countries with whom we have serious differences, differences that can be exploited by rivals to increase their own influence. We also need to increase our commercial engagement. China is using its Belt and Road Initiative to buy or finance foreign infrastructure. Beijing uses this debt book diplomacy to force concessions from smaller nations and thereby gain long-term influence abroad. In recent years, China has become a major player in Central and Eastern Europe. It now owns or controls almost 1/10 of Europe's entire port capacity and has taken control of 360 European companies. So for us, the United States, we are responding in a variety of ways. For example, we have something called the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States. And okay, I have to give you at least one acronym, right, or you won't take me seriously. We call it CFIUS. This committee, CFIUS, reviews mergers and acquisitions and takeovers that could result in foreign control of a US business. Our goal is to determine the effect of such transactions on our national security. CFIUS is an effective tool that balances our longstanding commitment to open investment against national security considerations. And we encourage other countries to make use of similar methods to scrutinize some of these deals. Another particularly effective action that we've undertaken has been to enlarge the Overseas Private Investment Corporation, being able to offer smaller countries some private sector alternatives to some dubious Chinese financing deals. While China relies on its economic might to assert its influence, Russia uses more creative methods. From the Baltic to the Black Sea, Russia utilizes manipulative energy tactics, corruption, and propaganda to weaken Western nations from within and undermine their stability and their bonds with the United States. We will continue to expose these underhanded tactics and fight back with the truth. One of America's great competitive advantages is our story, our legacy as a democratic, generous, and entrepreneurial people. These are strengths we share with our allies and partners, and together we can have a multiplier effect. As we confront the challenges posed by Russia and China, we ask our allies not to strengthen our rivals. Germany cannot continue its energy dependence on Russia while at the same time depending on American strength to counter Russia's rising belligerence. That's why, and it's not going to be a surprise to any of you, we are firmly opposed to Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline, which would leave Germany and Europe more dependent on Russian energy supplies. Nord Stream 2 would also undermine Ukraine's viability, and it is already damaging European unity. We also need German support as we confront another bad actor, Iran. The Iranian regime is working to assert regional dominance by threatening its neighbors, spreading terror, and pursuing weapons of mass destruction. The United States withdrew from the Iran deal, the JCPOA, because it enriched the Iranian regime while failing to curb Iran's malign activities. We've reimposed sanctions on Iran in order to cut off the revenues the regime uses to spread terror, foment global instability, and line its own pockets with money that should go to the Iranian people. Now, Berlin and Washington may disagree on the JCPOA, but we're all in agreement that Iran's behavior is unacceptable and has in fact worsened since the deal was concluded. We hope that Germany will continue to work with us not only to prevent Iran's path to a nuclear weapon, but also to put maximum pressure on Tehran to abandon its ballistic missile program and its support for terrorism. To that end, we want Germany to help us as we squeeze Iran with sanctions so that we can bring them back to the negotiating table. We also need Germany's help to prevent the Iranian regime from exploiting the European financial system. It's clear that engaging in trade with Iran benefits the IRGC. It may also expose companies to Iran's deceptive financial practices. And we ask that Germany make it clear to the firms that are doing business with Iranian companies and that this entails significant risk. The United States deeply values Germany's international leadership. When the United States and our European partners forge alliances to achieve common goals, we are safer, stronger, and more prosperous. Whether we're promoting global prosperity, ensuring security, or defending democratic ideals, we are more successful when we do so together. And I want to conclude by remembering something. I want to remember that I sat right about there a few years ago for your 10th anniversary. And I was here just as the leadership of WIIS Germany was changing over from the incomparable Constanze Stelzenmüller to Silke Tempel. Silke's tragic death reverberated not only here, but also in Washington. And I want you to know that. It is a poignant reminder that our transatlantic security is something we must work on together every day because we have no time to waste. I hope you will invite me for your 20th anniversary because I can't wait to see what we have accomplished. Thank you so much.